Hey everyone, Jim again from Mystery and Mayhem. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Sherlock Holmes, specifically the paranormal side of Sherlock Holmes. Arthur Conan Doyle, when he wrote the character of Sherlock Holmes, he didn't really deal with any paranormal aspects in his stories of Sherlock Holmes. The character stated that his feet were set in the real world, and everything had a reasonable explanation, and there was no such thing as the paranormal. But later authors, after Arthur Conan Doyle died, dealt with that aspect where Sherlock Holmes would go up against paranormal events and beings, specifically, and some of the best ones, where he went up against Dracula. Now, Lauren D. Esterman, who's written a few Sherlock Holmes stories, wrote this book, Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula. And it was reprinted in Titan Books volume. Now, I love these Titan books. There's a whole bunch in the Sherlock Holmes series by a whole bunch of different authors, and they vary in quality. There's a couple that I don't care about so much, but others where they're so well done, and it just you can see the love for the character in them, and they look awesome on the shelf. And there's some more here by Fred Saberhagen, who also had Sherlock Holmes meet Dracula. I'll show you another Titan book that Fred Saberhagen wrote, Sherlock Holmes Seance for a Vampire, where I think that was the first one that he wrote about Sherlock Holmes and Dracula. There's the mass paperback version. And then he wrote another one. And now I should know whether this was the first or second one, but he wrote another one where Holmes and Dracula met, the Holmes Dracula file. And look at that cover. That's just awesome. Very cool. I have an anthology called The Gaslight Grimoire, and they're all where Sherlock Holmes goes up against the supernatural. Now, if that's if you can find that, that's worth looking for. There's some very cool stories in here, with an introduction by David Stewart Davies, who has done a lot of Sherlock Holmes stories, pastiches. So there's quite a few stories in there, and it's worth looking into if you get a chance. Now, the next set of books is by James Lovegrove, and he did 3 of them, and they're called the Cthulhu Case Books, where Sherlock Holmes goes up against very Lovecraftian horrors and creatures, and they're a lot of fun. I mean, it's not. I mean, if you're a Sherlock Holmes purist, you probably won't enjoy them. But if you just want a fun story, and with Sherlock Holmes and Watson as the characters, these are worth looking into. So I'm not sure the order they go in at this point. I should have checked before I started doing this. But this one's called Sherlock Holmes and the Miskatonic Monstrosities. Beautiful, beautiful books by Titan Books. They do such a good job on their books. And they have so many Sherlock Holmes stories. This one is Sherlock Holmes and the Shadwell Shadows. Beautiful black and green and white, and the end papers are, look at those end papers. Just what a beautiful, beautiful book. And again, a lot of fun. I think you'd really enjoy reading them if you're into Sherlock Holmes and H.P. Lovecraft. This one's called Sherlock Holmes and the Sussex Sea Devils. Again, beautiful colors. You know, look at that. Look at that back cover. And the end papers. So yeah, I mean, if you're into the occult and Sherlock Holmes, they might be worth checking out and looking for these. So I'll see you soon. Take care and keep reading.